now we're in the note section. 3 learning goals for today. 1, using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We brushed that, we worked on that. 2, be able to recognize zero slope, positive slope, negative slope, and undefined just by looking at the graph, without having to do any math, knowing what your slope is going to be. And the third one we're going to add today is to be able to find slope by counting the rise over the run. And we're going to demonstrate that on problem 5 on page 399. So as soon as you've got our learning goals written down, go ahead and turn to problem 5. Okay, problem 5 is this graph right here. Does everybody have their finger on it? And you know already how to use the equation to find slope. And you know how to use, just looking at the graph, what kind of a number am I going to get? Negative. Okay, so for today, let's look if we can count and find out what slope is. Now, in order to count, you have to take 2 points. Can you all see the point that's here, this label? And the point that's up there. And the formula is rise over run. So first of all, let's just count how much it goes up. And I'm going to have you try it. You count from one line intersection to the next. So for instance, this is line 1. Go ahead and count the rise. Show me how many fingers and what you got. And indeed, most of us got 8. Good, good. Okay, so write down 8 is your numerator. 8 is your numerator. And then we're going to start at this bottom dot, and we have to do run now. Run means how far to the left if it's negative, or how far to the right if it's positive. So if we start here, we're going to be moving left, and we're going to move to each intersection, 1, 2. So what does it mean if we're going left?
Run.
Run, good. What kind of a number?
Negative.
Negative. So our denominator is negative 2. So now you have a fraction, 8 over negative 2. Go ahead and simplify. Raise your hand when you know what our slope is. Elizabeth, let's go back to you so I can get your name right.
4.
How many people agree with her that it's 4? Is there something we missed?
Negative.
What do you think, Elizabeth?
Oh, negative.
Negative 4. And you know what? It makes a difference because that depends which way the line goes, right? So if you look at the picture, you know it has to be negative. So that's kind of a way to check yourself. Now let's check ourselves another way. Using those 2 points, let's do it in the equation and see if you also get negative 4. Stand up when you've got that one problem done, please. It's 5, negative 1, 3, 7. Or 3, 7, 5, negative 1. Do you need help?
I forgot what I was doing.
Okay, see, here's the equation. That's all right. That happens. We've done a lot. Write the 2 points down. 5, negative 1, 3, 7. Label them and put them in the equation. And see if you also get negative 4. Okay, put your pencil in the air if you've got negative 4. Excellent. Okay, now here's the discussion question. Why would I teach you 2 ways? Why would I teach you to find slope from 2 points as well as to be able to count it on a graph? Talk about why it might be important to know both ways. Go ahead, talk when you want to tell me.
Oh, yeah. Check your.
Okay, now come to me and let me hear some ideas out there. What are some reasons? Andrew?
Because if you got one answer and it doesn't look right, you can always check it with the other.
Okay, that's possible. Yes.
You can't do one, but you can do the other.
And like, what if you don't have a graph? What if they just give you 2 points? Would it be easier to use the equation than making a graph? How about if they just give you a graph? Would it be easier to count? And that's what you're going to find, because look at number 6 now. Number 6, did they give you a graph? No, what did they give you? Points. So the only thing you can do is the equation. So go ahead and do that one now. Stand up when you're done. About another 10 seconds. Do you know what to do? You're supposed to stand up. I thought maybe you'd do this. Okay, great. And have a seat. At the count of 3, tell me what you got. Ready? Actually, before you tell me, talk at your tables and see if you all agree. That way you don't have to say
I thought you did that at the bottom.
Okay, raise your hand if your whole table agreed. Only one table? The whole table agreed on the answer. Oh, about half of us. Okay. So the tables that agreed at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
0 over 5.
0 over 5. What kind of slope is that? A 0 slope. So that's all you needed to write, a 0 slope. Good. What if it had been 5 over 0? What would you write? Undefined. Undefined. Excellent. Okay, now we're going to go to problem number 7. And you remember that in our scale, it said we had to be able to find slope from a table, from a graph, and from an equation. You tell me now, what ways we have to find slope? From a table, graph, and equation. Good. So what do we call 7? That's a table. Good. So let's look for the pattern in X and the pattern in Y. Now, what do you know about X and Y? Which one goes on the top? So even though we know that they're written in table form with X as the top variable and then Y below, when you think about slopes, you have to find the reciprocal of that. So do that and then let me know what you have by looking at me. Okay, who has found the pattern for the X? The pattern for the X. Haley Bush?
+2 every time.
+2 every time. That's our constant of proportionality. Okay, and then who found the pattern for the Y? Garrison?
Plus 1/2.
Okay. And do you want to stay in decimals, 0.5? Okay, so plus 0.5, and again, that's the constant of proportionality for our Y. Now, remember that slope is Y over X, or rise over run. So our Y was 0.5 over our X, which is 2. So what that tells us if we're counting on a graph is it goes up half a box and over 2. Goes up half a box and over 2. Does that make sense? Okay, try 8, and then this time go ahead and stand right up when you have the slope from the table 8. figure in simplest form. You might want to look at that again, that's good. And have a seat. Good job, Anna. So Kyle, tell me what you got before you simplified it.
I had negative 192 over 2.
Negative 192 over 2. How many people got that that's what the constant proportionalities were? Raise your hand real tall if that's what you got to start with. Good. Okay, and then Leah, what did you simplify that to?
Well, negative 96 over 1, negative 96.
Yep. And in our slope form, we might want to keep it in negative 96.1 when we're working with slope, just because that tells us we come, our rise, we come down 96 and go over 1. Down 96 and over 1. How many of you feel that you understand how to use the equation? Give me thumbs up. Number 1, you can use the equation. Good. Okay, number 2, again, thumbs up if you can tell me just by looking at the graph if it's 0, positive, negative, or undefined. Excellent. And then 3, if you looked at a graph, could you count up and then over to tell me what slope is? All right. Okay, you're going to get a chance to show me. What I want you to do now is 9 through 18, and that's going to be your independent work. You have the rest of the hour to work on that. You may talk while you do this. You may compare answers. If you'd like to know if something's right, you may check with me as well.